All right, so the Queen is dead, 90-something years old. What can you say? In a way, it's not sad. It's amazing. A celebration, really, of her life is happening, and that's great. A great, big, long, significant life. People loved her. I never met her. I never even saw her, although I did see Buckingham Palace once when I was in 6th grade. People we know and trust, though, say she was a great woman, and that is Donald Trump. They had real chemistry, real personal affection for each other. You can see it in the photographs. And actually, when I tell you this backstory, it even makes more sense. So Donald Trump's mother, Mary, came from Scotland, and she was a huge fan of the Queen. When the Queen was coronated back, I guess it was officially in 1953, the big ceremony, this was one of the first events ever carried on live television and broadcast all across the world. It was such a big event. Everybody who had a TV, and not many people did in those days, watched it. It was a multi-day affair, including Mrs. Trump and Donald Trump. This is said to be one of his earliest memories at the age of 6, watching his mother in that house in Queens, New York, watching this amazing event on television. So his mother was a big admirer, and it makes sense that Donald Trump would be as well. And now that she's gone, the President of the United States, the former President of the United States, put out quite a statement. Let's take a look at some pictures as we read it in its entirety. From Truth Social, Melania and I are deeply saddened to learn of the loss of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Together with our family and fellow Americans, we send our sincere condolences to the royal family and the people of the United Kingdom during this time of great grief and sorrow. Queen Elizabeth's historic and remarkable reign left a tremendous legacy of peace and prosperity for Great Britain. Her leadership and enduring diplomacy secured and advanced alliances with the United States and countries around the world. However, she will always be remembered for her faithfulness to her country and her unwavering devotion to her countrymen and women. Melania and I will always cherish our time together with the Queen and will never forget Her Majesty's generous friendship, great wisdom, and wonderful sense of humor. What a grand and beautiful lady she was. There was nobody like her. And he said this about the new king, King Charles. Wow, King Charles III. We no longer say Prince Charles like he have been forever. He says, I've gotten to know him well. He'll be a great and wonderful king. But back to the Queen. We knew her well. She knew us very well. She knew every president, I think, since Truman. Yeah, here are pictures. Here she is with Harry Truman. She was like, what, 23 years old back then? Next, we have Eisenhower, President Eisenhower. She knew President Kennedy. After Kennedy, I don't think she ever met Lyndon Johnson, but she did get to know the Nixons. And after Nixon, there was Gerald Ford. They controversially danced to a Captain and Tennille song that apparently violated all sorts of protocol. Muskrat Love, remember that one? All right, there's Jimmy Carter. Who else? Oh, Ronald Reagan. They went horseback riding together. That was pretty cool. George H.W. Bush. I think they may have been related or something like that, you know? Clinton, Bill Clinton. I don't sense a lot of warmth there. Do you? Next, these two. Again, yeah, royal blood, blue bloods. And then Barack Obama. And that brings us to Trump. And I do think, just the body language alone, I think this was the most genuine relationship with an American president that she had. The affection was mutual. This was President Trump's toast to her, and he made it very, very personal.
In April 1945, newspapers featured a picture of the Queen Mother visiting the women's branch of the Army, watching a young woman repair a military truck engine. That young mechanic was the future Queen, a great, great woman. Her Majesty inspired her compatriots in that fight to support the troops, defend her homeland, and defeat the enemy at all cost.
Isn't that great? And you know, when he said that, the fact checkers, remember, they're always trying to catch Trump and, oh, he was wrong, he was wrong. Well, he was 1,000% right. They actually tried to fact check him on this. He was right. And here's actually a moment, the moment that he was talking about.
Taking a driving course at a training center is Princess Elizabeth, second subaltern ATS. She has been learning to drive and maintain all types of motor vehicles. When the training center was visited by the King and Queen and Princess Margaret, they found Princess Elizabeth in overalls working on the engine of a Red Cross lorry. After watching other girls at work, the King returned and jokingly asked the Princess, "Haven't you got it mended yet?" Princess Elizabeth, Honorary Second Subaltern, ATS, is now a competent mechanic and proud of the fact.
Kind of cool, right? What did the King joke? He joked, "Have you got it mended yet?" Must have been in the delivery, I don't know, but the Queen, by the way, was more reserved in her toast to Donald Trump, in part because, well, the fake news over in the UK were up in arms about Donald Trump, and so were a good chunk of her family. But still, it looked to me like the feeling was mutual. There was much more warmth there than between the Queen and Joe Biden. Now, Joe Biden broke all kinds of protocol by wearing those silly aviator sunglasses that he thinks he looks good in. He wore them the whole time. You're not supposed to do that for various reasons with the Queen. And then he made, I think, totally inappropriate observations about the Queen, reminding him of his mother. She's not old enough to be your mother, Joe. Listen to this.
We had a long talk, and she was very generous. Very, I don't think she'd be insulted, but my mother. She reminded me of my mother in terms of the look of her and just the generosity.
Again, the age difference is not as great, not old enough to be the mother. And Joe, actually, when he was vice president of the United States, shot his mouth off like crazy to everybody, no control, and actually told a British journalist once that his mother so disliked England, she refused to sleep in the bed the Queen had slept in. How's that for a diplomat? Hey, if you want to know anything else about the Queen, look, this is the one good thing on Netflix in my book. I have watched The Crown. I recommend it. You can binge it. You binge out. And I have watched, I believe, all the seasons, like 3 seasons. And it's great. Whenever I go to a dinner party, I can hold my own because I've seen The Crown. Guys, it will get you through a lot of conversations with the ladies, if you find yourself in that position. All right, next. There's going to be a big funeral, and who's going to be calling the shots as to who goes? The State Department. The State Department is absolutely terrible. It really is. I was reminded this week, I'm reading Jared Kushner's book. This is what he said. He reached out to Henry Kissinger, and Henry Kissinger, who was a Secretary of State himself, Jared was trying to arrange Mideast peace, and he was largely successful. This is what Kissinger told him about dealing with the State Department. Kissinger warned me to resist efforts to run foreign policy out of the State Department. If the White House loses foreign policy to the State Department, you will never get anything done. You will never get anything. How about that? We have an entire bureaucracy committed to not doing anything. It's pretty wild. But Jared figured that out, and so did President Trump.
Thank you very much. One for Dr. Fauci and then hopefully one for you.
Sure. And one thing, Secretary of State Pompeo is extremely busy, so if you have any question for him right now, could you do that? Because you know what I'd like to do? I'd like him to go back to the State Department, or as they call it, the Deep State Department, if you don't mind. I'd like to have him go back and do his job. So does anybody have any question? Please.
The Deep State Department, I love it. And he said it out loud. It's amazing. So the Queen, rest in peace. Wow. What a life. What a life. Got this. Steve Bannon. I've got mixed feelings about Steve Bannon. I know he's brilliant, but I also heard he was a big-time leaker at the White House. But he's a brilliant guy, and I think he's being harassed, first by federal prosecutors and now state and local prosecutors. He was arrested today. He's accused of fraud, but quite frankly, I think the prosecutors are frauds. I really do at this point. I don't trust them. We'll see how this plays out. Here he is, and these words, actually, This moment for Steve, they're quite inspiring, can be for us all.
For every conservative American, this is what happens in the last days of a dying regime. They will never shut me up. They'll have to kill me first. I have not yet begun to fight.
Good for him. I have not yet begun to fight. We'll see what happens. Not familiar with the details of the case, but I am familiar with, and we all are at this point, prosecutors gone rogue, a government gone rogue and overboard. Good luck, Steve Bannon.
Hey guys, it's Rob Carson. September is historically the worst performing month for the stock market, so you better be ready for it. The Fed continues to aggressively raise rates, and JP Morgan is forecasting another mega rate hike September the 21st. Is that why Jamie Dimon said an economic hurricane is coming our way? Well, gold and silver have remained remarkably stable despite the Fed aggressively raising rates today. The Patriot Gold Group has a special incentive for Newsmax viewers. Huge! Now precious metals investors can enjoy the no-fee for life gold and silver IRA on qualifying rollovers, or enjoy free, discreet, insured shipping on all direct gold and silver purchases. Here's the number, 800-356-4470. Call 800-356-4470 today.